Let's move on to Tampa Bay and Houston. The game of the week. You didn't win shit in DFS if you didn't stack this game. So that's always good when there's one game that does that, and you're like, oh, nobody else won anything. Houston, CJ Stroud continues to break all kinds of records. He didn't have a great game against Carolina last week, and then he had the game against Tampa this week. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback. He's supporting all these receivers. I can't sit Tank Dell right now with his breakout potential. I can't sit Nico, even though Nico Collins actually had the quiet game of this group. I can't sit him. It's incredible what happened. I picked up Noah Brown right before this game and started him in the league.
Dude, shout out to Scott. He loved Noah Brown on the DFS stream, and he was the nuts. No one played him yesterday in DFS, but he was the absolute nuts. Tank Dell is like an all-time do-you-know-ball type of receiver, because everybody that didn't like him coming out was like, oh, he's too small. He can't separate. And you watch 2 games of him out of Houston, you're like, okay, this guy can play. And look at that, 11 targets, 6, 114 and 2, caught the game winner. I mean, he can get deep. He can win in the intermediate areas. He can get, separate in the, over the middle. He's an awesome player, man. And Nico Collins is really good too. But I have this daydream of them paying T. Higgins this offseason, this coming offseason. If they pay for T. Higgins and upgrade on Nico, and you put these guys together with Dell, and you get one more guy out the slot, like CJ Stroud's a top 8 fantasy quarterback next year.
By the way, CJ Stroud also had the rare 10 yards rushing with no carries stat line.
That pitch play with Singletary.
Took a pitch play. And here's the other amazing thing about Stroud. They cannot run the football. They are completely one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Completely one-dimensional.
We kind of figured that coming in this game. Vita Vea was back. Their Bucks are like the ultimate pass funnel. I was on this and start sit. I was saying, like, I think the volume will rebound, and Bucks have given up like 250 or more yards to basically every quarterback that's good all year. But I mean, 470 this is the highest end range of outcomes. And Joe, you started off with, like, you're just playing Nico and Dell. You're playing those dudes as flex wide receiver 2 guys like every single week, I think, at this point.
Yeah. Is there any team feeling better about their franchise more coming out of week 9 than Houston Texans fans, man? You got your guy for 15.
The only thing is they don't have their first round pick next year.
I don't give a shit. You got your guy quarterback.
I don't think they care.
Oh, I'm sure they don't. I'm just saying, like, they don't have that other asset to help. But I mean, what did Will Anderson do in this game? He had a sack. Okay, there you go.
He had a great game against the Saints a couple weeks ago too. I was going to say Texans Bengals, just to wrap this up, is going to be the game of the week next week. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, that's actually going to be really fun. Yeah,
great
for
game.
That. Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be very fun. Texans and Bengals. No, I feel like I was likening this to, because we even didn't talk about the fact that Dario Gumbawale kicked the game.
the field goal.
Did you guys see D'Amico Ryan's reaction? He was trying to like stone face it and like play it cool, and he like started smiling and laughing.
This is like one of those games where, like, I was likening it to, as an Eagle fan, the pickle juice game, when, like, that was the game where you pointed to, if you ask any Eagle fan who grew up in the 90s and then obviously into the end, when did it feel different? When did it feel like, all right, we're about to go on a run here, like, of relevance? And it was the pickle juice game where they went down and whipped Dallas because of the pickle juice. They stayed hydrated with that. And everyone remembers that game. Deuce Staley going for, this is that game for the Texans fans, right? Yeah. Like, if this becomes a successful run, I think we know CJ Stroud had his moments earlier, but the game where he throws for 470 and 5, and Dario Gumbawale kicks the game-winning field goal, and rookie wide receiver Tank Dell catches 2 touchdowns. That is an era-starting game for a franchise. That is something that the fans are going to remember forever. They're going to be on a high from this. And if Houston does start to go on a successful run and consistently compete with Jacksonville in that division, this is the game people are going to point to. And I, it was a fun game. Good for CJ Stroud, who clearly looks just so confident. Like, and I got to admit, Tom, you watched a lot of CJ Stroud. I did not see this guy at Ohio State. Now, he was prolific, but I saw I thought he was Jared Goff. I thought he was a really good pocket passer who you get some pressure on him and you start to see the cracks. And he's better than that right now. And I have to give him, like, I'm not trying to tell you Jared Goff was the top pick in the draft and has started a Super Bowl. Okay. Like there's a lot worse quarterbacks than that in the NFL, but I feel like CJ Stroud is better than that right now.
Yeah. His deep ball is fantastic. You know, he throws it all over the field, and you're right. He's been way more composed under pressure. He never really had to face much pressure at Ohio State, and that was kind of the knock. He's playing with the best receivers in the world at Ohio State. Like, the receiving core was better than like half the teams in the NFL at the time, with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I mean, it's just, so there was, I can see why there were some red flags there because of, just everything he was playing with. But I think he's clearly answered every question. And, the Panthers have to be kicking themselves that they let CJ Stroud walk. And we'll touch on Bryce Young here in a little bit here. That was a brutal performance. But CJ Stroud, man, he's locked in. And I mean, look out on AFC with another great starting quarterback.
I know, dude. That's the Tom. You read my mind. That was like kind of the final thought I had. Is the AFC is just loaded right now.
Believe me, as somebody that has Kenny Pickett as their starting quarterback, I look at all these other quarterbacks in the AFC, and oh man, if we could just get one of those guys right now, we'd have a pretty good chance of making some noise in the AFC.